Hey guys, so it's been a minute since I've made an EDC video, so I figured I'd make an update. Now, what you see here is actually just going to be the overview of what I carry in my pockets, basically my pants on a daily basis. I'm not going to go through what I carry like in my coat pockets or my pack. You know, this thing here. I'm not going to go over that just because it's really time intensive. I'll probably do a separate video on that, what I carry in my coats, just in general. But this is just going to go over what I have in my pockets and my pants on a daily basis. And kind of go from there. Also, I want to make it clear that all of the firearms that are visible here have been safety checked prior to making this video. As you can see, ammunition is there, and then on the pistol back there, the ammunition is out as well. So we'll get started and we'll move from left to right. So also I'm going to apologize for the shaky video. I'm doing this with one hand, obviously. And the part of this that is missing is, of course, my phone, which is right here. So we'll go ahead and get started. I have my wallet. I got this off of Amazon about 5 years ago. Basically, it's pieces of elastic that have been sewed together. I think it's called an Infini wallet or something like that. Great, slim, minimalist wallet. The only wallet that I've thought about swapping this out with is one of the Magpul wallets. But I love this, slim, just bears in your pocket. I have a Zippo lighter, which is currently out of fuel. But I carry this on me just in case. You never know when a lighter will come in handy or when you can make friends with somebody that needs a lighter, which is actually an important aspect that a lot of people forget about. And this right here, that's just a hair tie that I have tied around there. My hair is growing out a little bit longer, so I like to have something that I can keep it out of my face with. But there's that. Have my keys. My keys have a flash drive and a multi-tool on them, and this is just like a Gerber Bear Grylls multi-tool. I got it from Walmart years ago. The pliers, it has needle nose pliers. They're all bent out of shape and they're not great, but it has a bunch of like different driver heads. You can see like a little Phillips sort of head, a flat head, bottle opener, can opener, tweezers, and it has a serrated and fine edge blade, which I like. The fine edge is on this side and the serrated on this side. So this has actually saved my life and come in handy more times than I'd care to admit. Then I just have a little eyeglasses cleaner, keep in my pocket. Doesn't take up any space, no weight. It's wonderful. It is winter, so in the winter I carry these in my pocket. The pants that I wear regularly are 511 Apex pants. They're kind of have those concealed cargo pockets, so they're real low profile. But I keep these in there. They're an Under Armour brand. I don't know how it works, but they have some weird kind of insulation on the inside of them that actually keep your hands really warm. If you put these on when you're inside in the warmth and then go outside, they'll keep your hands super warm. Well, not super warm. They're about as effective as a liner would be, to be honest. But honestly, these make great liners. I have a pair of leather gloves that I keep in my coat, and if it's real cold, I'll put these on and then the leather gloves over them, and they fit perfectly. And also it has these padded knuckles in case you got to do some work. So now let's start getting into the fun and serious side of my EDC. So we'll start here at the top. I always have this on me. It's a Streamlight. Let me get that to focus. Streamlight ProTac 2AA. It is programmable. It has a butt switch. I don't remember the exact lumen count on this. I think it's like 200. But it is. It comes out of the box with a 3-way switch. You have high, like I say, which is probably right around 200 lumens. You have a strobe. It is bright enough and focused enough that it will disorient you pretty significantly if I need to. And then the third tap is just a low, almost like a moonlight function, which I use this quite a bit because I don't need the full bright 200. I'm usually trying to find something in a dark room or find a switch for light, so I'll flip it on to, well, if I can get it, switch it on to low. That gives me everything I need. This actually replaced it wasn't a ProTac, it was a Streamlight, but it was a single AAA flashlight. It was so small that it kept getting lost. I actually lost it 3 or 4 times before I finally lost it indefinitely. I still don't know where it's at. But this replaced it. The only thing I don't like about this is how far it rides out of your pocket. As you can see, the pocket clip ends almost an inch below the bottom of the butt cap. Which is slightly mitigated by the fact that this clip, if I can get it to do it, kind of slides up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So it can ride a little bit deeper in the pocket. But this is a great light. I definitely recommend it. They actually have one that is a single AA that's a bit significantly shorter. A friend of mine has that, and it's great. I also like this because it can kind of double as a backup weapon if I need to. It's got a little bezel here that if I really need to get in there and do some work, I can do it. And then, of course, the tail switch has a bezel to protect it from being accidentally turned on, which I like. But that's my flashlight. Now, this is my primary EDC defensive knife. I'm going to be very specific about that. This is purely my EDC defensive knife. It is a Kershaw produced Emerson design. As you can see, it's got the Emerson logo there. This is one of the CQC lines. So of course it's not like a $200 to $400 actual Emerson CQC. This is just 8CR13 MOV steel. But this is, I believe, one of the 6K series. I like it just because it has this wave feature so that when I'm pulling it out of my pocket, it'll catch the edge of the pocket and deploy before I ever have it fully out of the pocket. Also, I have this really ridiculously sharp, almost scary sharp. I don't use this blade for anything but defense. So this blade, once it's sharpened, doesn't cut anything. It cuts maybe a sheet of paper to see if it's sharp and maybe whittle some hair, but that's it. This is my primary defensive knife. I've been carrying this for probably going on a year and a half now, maybe 2. But I'll do a review video on this later since I've been carrying it for a while. I really like this. It is pretty heavy for how big it is, but it's a wonderful, wonderful defensive knife. Also, there's a bunch of noise in the background. That's my dogs. Ignore them. This is one of my beater knives. I call it a beater knife. It's not really a beater. This is a Kershaw. It's in the Launch series. I believe it is the Launch 4. Even though it says it is 7800 black. Oh no, this is not the Launch 4. This is the Launch 6. I'm sorry. But it is in CPM 154 steel. It's a great knife. I keep this pretty sharp, but this is the knife that I actually keep kind of in my back pocket as a utility knife. Open packages, boxes, just about anything I need to cut, I go to this. But that being said, I keep it really sharp. Now, this is not my primary defensive knife, mainly because if I lose it or if something goes down or I have to use it and it gets confiscated by law enforcement, I don't want my $80, which, I mean, is not that much, but when it comes to auto knives. But I don't want my nice birthday gift knife to get confiscated and then me be sad. I actually had a Launch 2 several years ago and I lost it. So I'm really happy to have this. It's one of my favorite knives ever. So this is the knife that it gets swapped out with. It is fairly small. It is a CRKT M16 10KS. And this is a wonderful knife. It's super lightweight. It's real ergonomic. I like that the flipper here acts as a guard, so if you have to use it in a defensive situation, you don't have to worry about your hand sliding on the blade in, you know, a reverse / ice pick grip or in your traditional use. But this actually gets swapped out for a beater, for my beater knife. It's kind of a unique edge because it's a modified chisel grind, so you'll see it's partially serrated on this side, and I've got that bevel, that secondary bevel for it sharp here, but on the back side it just has if you notice, it just has the primary bevel. And get it to focus here, there's no secondary bevel that comes down to a point. So it's kind of like a modified chisel. It's not a true chisel because it's not entirely flat on the back. But that means that it can dull a little bit quicker because that edge is a little bit finer. But it's not a big deal. But I really like this knife. I think it's going to be a classic one day between the M16 and M21 series of knives. But this is just super light, deep pocket carry. It just disappears when I have it in here. Now the next two knives, I'm going to switch hands because that one's getting tired of holding my phone. But these two knives are, collectively, they came in one package for $15. So don't expect a lot out of them. I think this is like 3 CR13 MOV or something like that. Terrible steel. But they are both Kershaw SpeedSafe assisted open knives. This one has aluminum handles, and it is a liner lock or a frame lock. Pretty weighty, but basically this is my defensive and or beater knife if I'm going somewhere that I have a high likelihood it might be taken, or like if I'm worried about losing a knife, then I'll take this. I'll take this or this, which is essentially the same knife fundamentally. It's just got a slightly different handle. This is like an FRP handle, I believe. Or something very similar to it. It's a polymer plastic, like a reinforced plastic. It has a liner lock, same basic blade shape, same SpeedSafe assisted, but this one's super lightweight. So these are my carry knives if I'm potentially going somewhere that I'm going to lose a knife, or I'm afraid that if something happens, you know, one of my nice knives will disappear. Now I have a few other folders that aren't really in rotation. They're just kind of there. So I'm not going to roll those into this video. I might do that later, but yep, I got these at Walmart, 15 bucks together. I'd highly recommend it for somebody that's just looking for a good beater, something that they don't expect, you know, that they're going to put abuse on, but want it to actually hold up. That's what I feel like these knives fit into really well. Now we'll get into what I keep on my belt, or the belt itself, and then obviously my guns, or gun one, just one. So this belt is a 511 operator's belt. I've been wearing this for about 2, if not 3 years now. It's super stiff. I'm trying to get it to crush there, and it won't. Like I can turn my knuckles white, and it just will not crush. So this is a great belt for weight bearing. If you conceal carry, I carry both appendix and in this holster, and it holds it up real well. Puts up with a lot of abuse. It has a really high tensile strength on it. So in an emergency, if you needed to use this to secure something, you're pretty good. Doge, you watch out. Okay, can you sit? Good girl. So that's my belt. It is the 1.75 inch version, the 1 3/4 inch. Going back, if I had to do it again, I'd get the 1.5 inch. Fits through more belt loops. A lot more holsters, like with these kind of clips, are designed for a 1.5 inch belt. So I may end up also just getting a second one of these in the 1.5 inch. Same belt, slightly thinner. And I think it might be under a different name. I don't remember. But then we'll move to this. This is my appendix carry holster. It's actually a US grunt gear holster. I moved to this from an alien gear holster, actually. This is more comfortable than my alien gear, more concealable than my alien gear was, and has served me longer than my alien gear has. It's just coyote, kind of carbon fiber pattern Kydex. Like I say, you got it from US Grunt Gear. Fits my Glock 19 fairly well. It doesn't have a lot of retention, but I'm not looking for, you know, anything more than just the passive molded retention from Kydex when I'm carrying inside the waistband and appendix. Really like this holster. I don't use it as much during the winter as I do during the spring and summer and fall, but definitely this is my go-to holster for appendix. That may change though. I'm looking at a few other holsters. I just haven't needed to get one or bothered with it. The only thing that I do have as a complaint on this holster is, if you can see down in that screw, it actually started rusting, and this is the screw that adjusts the retention. Yeah, there you can see a little bit. But this is the screw that adjusts the retention for the pistol. I'm not a fan of the fact that it actually rusted out, but then again, it's also directly against my body, getting sweated on all the time. So that's my only complaint, and that's a super minor complaint. It hasn't ever progressed past what it is right there. It's very, very minimal surface, so don't have many complaints there. Now this is, I'll take the pistol out for now. We'll get into that in just a second. This is my Safariland, I believe it's the 7TS paddle holster with ALS. So it's got this active retention feature here. Automatically locks when I put it in. It's a paddle style holster. It clips on my belt, which again, like I said, this right here is another reason why I'd like to get a 1.5 inch belt. Because this right here is intended for a 1.5 inch belt, and when I try to stick it over the belt that I have here, it's so close, but not quite there. But I really like this holster during the winter when I have two coats that I primarily wear. One you can see in the background, which is a Condor Summit soft shell. The other one is actually a German Army surplus coat, and it's big enough that it covers this and you can't see it. So I like to wear this outside the waistband in the winter. Easier, it's a lot more comfortable, easier to get to my weapon. Just wonderful piece of kit. I like that it locks automatically and that it is active retention, considering that I do carry this outside the waistband. The only modification that there's two modifications I'm going to do to this holster to make it a little bit more functional for me in the long run. One, I'm going to add one of the QLS attachment systems so that this holster can be pulled off of this paddle mount system and put onto my my battle belt, gun belt rig that I keep in my car. That way I can literally swap almost instantaneously from a concealed carry situation to, hey, I need to put my equipment on and I need to go. Just quick transition, clamp, snap, done. The other modification is I'm going to get the the ALS button extender. It's just a little piece of aluminum that actually screws on top of this and makes it a little bit easier to actuate with your thumb when you grab it. Only two modifications I'm going to do to that pistol, or do to that holster. Everything else is great. We'll get into the ammo that I carry. This is just a standard 15 round Glock 19 9mm holster. Or I'm sorry, Glock. Yeah, Glock 19 9mm holster. I got so confused there. Too many numbers. I have it loaded to 15, and what I have it loaded with are, see if I can get that to focus, Underwood loading of the Lehigh Defense Extreme Defender Plus P. Solid copper milled round. They are essentially barrier blind. They do not expand, so you do not have to worry about the tip getting plugged and not expanding like it should in a target to stop. It relies entirely on hydrostatic pressure, which if you're at all interested in, here I actually have a loose one I'll show you. If you're interested in finding out more about this round, Tim with the Military Arms Channel has done a lot of testing with the Underwood ammunition. It's wonderful stuff. The Plus P Plus version of this, I actually believe, it might be the Extreme Penetrator, but I believe the Plus P Plus version of the Extreme Defender will actually defeat 2A body armor as well. Level 2 or 2A, don't remember specifically, but this is my round of choice for defensive ammunition. Love it. I can't sing its praises anymore. And then we have my carry pistol, which again has been safety checked. There is no magazine in the well, and you can check the chamber. Real difficult to do it from that angle. But you check the chamber, and there is nothing down in there. So it has been safety checked. But this is my carry pistol. It is just a Glock 19. The internals are entirely stock, barrel stock, everything stock. I just threw a set of Talon grips on here. It gives me a little bit of extra grip when I have a hold of the pistol. And I did do a little bit of an undercut on the trigger guard there, so I can get up in there just a little bit higher. The only real major modification, but this isn't even a major modification, has been the sights. As you can see, I have the XS big dot sights there. Love these sights. They're super quick acquisition, easy to line up, great defensive sights. These are the ones that have the tritium in there, so you can see in the center of that front sight there's a little tritium vial, and in the center of the back side a little tritium vial. Otherwise, this is an entirely stock pistol. Yep, it's a Glock 19. There's not much to say about it. Not much you can say that hasn't already been said. I'm actually thinking about swapping this out for a Beretta PX4 Storm in full size. It gives me 2 extra rounds capacity. It's roughly the same size, and it is actually the same manual of arms as my go-to shit hit the fan weapon, which is a Beretta 92A1, which I actually have just off camera. You can see the grip of it right there. But I love this gun. It's a great weapon. But that is my EDC. Of course, always make sure that you have your iDroid available, because you know when you got to find stuff out, you got to find stuff out. Actually, this is a 3D printed prop that I got for, I can't remember if it was a Christmas gift or a birthday gift, because both of those run right about the same time for me. This is a great gift, but just thought I'd throw that in there because obviously I'm a Metal Gear fan. But that is my EDC. That's typically what you can find in my pockets on an everyday basis. So thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe. YouTube is a weird place to be for people like us these days, just because their policies and the way they're handling things are just getting out of hand lately. So, you know, everything that you guys can do to like, subscribe, share. You know, I am not actually monetizing my videos. I'm not making any money off of this. I'm doing this solely as a personal project, and to maybe help others think about what they're carrying, and give them options. Like, just for instance, like with here, the fact that I have a super lightweight, low-end $7.50 Kershaw knife, but I also have some really good knives up here. We might get into what I have typically in my coat on a later date. Like this shemagh here, I normally keep folded up in the back pocket of that coat. I use it as a scarf. And then I may, of course, get into, do a whole nother video on my pack. Because there's about 5 times more stuff in that pack than there is on this table. And then that right there, that's just a first aid kit for my bug out bag or my battle belt. No big deal. But again, I really appreciate the views, subscriptions, and the likes. You know, we're all out here trying to survive this crazy world together. And you know, being prepared is the first step in it. So always stay strong and keep fighting the good fight.